Feskerma Harjan agus fáte arashku an channel akam she Orange Zeppelin an Tenemahurum agus an Jew be shin a kuyid ma 5-year planner. So if you're wondering why the video opened like that, you might know already from my recent vlogs, but I have been using this 5-year planner specifically to practice writing in Scottish Gaelic, which I've been learning for over a year now. I think it's been about a year and 4 or 5 months, and this planner has been super helpful for that. So if you don't know what the 5-year planner is, it is made by this particular company in Japan, and the idea is you've got a planner that basically lasts you for a full 5 years. So you can see I just recently started at the beginning of 2022, and there is space for an entry on this date for 2022, 2023, and so on. And then you've also got this open space that you can draw on at whatever time, whatever year pleases you. And very specifically, as I said, I have been using this to practice my Gaelic, and it's been very useful because otherwise I'm not really the best at keeping a specific journal. But because I am using this specifically for Gaelic practice, it keeps me on a schedule. It keeps me practicing a little bit every day, and it makes me want to particularly seek out specific words when I want to articulate something, which if you look at I kind of hope that most of the people watching this do not know Gaelic and aren't going to be looking at this like, Jesus Christ, what are you trying to write? Because a few of my earlier entries, I'm not sure what I was trying to write. I think I was messing up some sentence structure and cases, but you will see already, you can kind of see I'm able to write a lot more, and I have more variation in sentence structure, and I also learned how to say the days of the week at some point, and you're gonna see that as we go along. So far, actually this is today. Last year on this day my family ate soup and bread for dinner, but I wasn't quite that far in knowing how to articulate that. So this year I will actually be able to do a much better job. We could even have some soup and bread tonight, and I could write a much better sentence about it. And then at some point, there's some days where I'm not even talking about the day. It's just, well, I learned how to articulate that I own a cat. So I'm going to talk about my cats. I'm going to talk about my spider. Actually, my spider is no longer with us. Rip Yolanda. She was my windowsill spider. But you can also see there's days where I was trying to articulate something, didn't know how to say it in Gaelic, so there's some random Gaelic peppered into a largely English sentence. Actually, here's an interesting day. My uncle got sick with COVID, and we went out to get some food for him, some food and medicine, and so we have a little oh dear with our COVID things. And for the most part, it's just a little bit of writing, a little bit of also just practicing my handwriting, which I've been working on throughout the year. I don't have very many of these pages illustrated just because I didn't want to fill the whole thing up. Now there's another ovo, because this is when I got the coof. And also, I did go out of my way to look up the word for sore, gorsht, because I was trying to articulate my everything is sore. And then I learned some veggies, and so I illustrated some fruits and veggies, and I left a little bit of room so when I loop back around to the 12th, I can throw some more delicious fruits and veggies that I've learned the words for. And then I was sick with the coof for a little while, so there's me expressing my irritation. Ha mi krosta, va mi krosta. I'm just looking for some of the more interesting pages here. And you will notice that, actually, where's a good example? I'll point it out when I get to there. And then I learned colors, so I'm articulating what color my cat is. This day I didn't even write in Gaelic because I wanted to have a rant about my studying. I was using Duolingo primarily to learn Gaelic, and so I was using the app. This is before the update of Doom. If you were learning Gaelic through the app, none of the tips and tricks were available unless you went on to the desktop and actually looked them up on the desktop site, and I didn't actually know that. So at around this time, I was venting that I was having a really hard time understanding the articles and when you're supposed to use what article. I did find out the next day, once checking out the website, that the tips and tricks are there. The articles, it's actually a really easy system. Once it's explained to you, it makes perfect sense, which that leads to a current complaint that I have, because Duolingo's update got rid of the tips and tricks section entirely. So if you go onto the desktop, you're not gonna get that explanation. So I am a little salty about that. And here, there's an example of what I was trying to bring up earlier. If I didn't know the word and I needed to pop in an English word, I just write it in a different color so it stands out, or slightly different pencil, and it's just so I know where my lexicon gaps are, and just so I know how much of that sentence was Gaelic. And then I learned how to say computer, so there's me on the computer for hours and hours. And we get some ice cream. Most of this is like, this is what the weather was this day. This is my current state of being, whether I'm tired or not. This is what I ate, if I know the word. If I knew something like sular for strawberry. And Hobonichi, I'm so happy. Oh, and then last year was Year of the Tiger, so that is why I illustrated a tiger. Well, there was some Skyrim chaos happening. This was early into my current Skyrim playthrough, where one dragon was a big deal. And then there's just some days where I didn't write a whole heck of a lot. This is actually the day that I decided, when I hit a 365-day Duolingo streak, I was going to get myself a kilt. And I hit that streak. I actually made it to 472 days before I decided to break my streak in protest, because, as I said, I'm a little salty about the app. But I have a lot of other resources I can use to learn Gaelic, so really Duolingo it's not the end of my learning by any means. And then I also have a ski undo, and so I drew my ski undo on this day. And I just drew Catullus because I was tired and he was tired. Let's see. I'm just going to skip through a little faster, because otherwise you're just looking at every single individual little orc that I drew. Oh, I like how this turned out. I learned how to articulate that I like my bed, and that I feel like is a very helpful phrase. Then, and Shomer Katal Akam, my bedroom, and the various words I knew that would specifically relate to my bedroom. Let's see, do I have any neat little sketches or neat little... Oh, that's cozy. There we go. And then I learned about Cranachan, a delicious Scottish treat. You've got whiskey, you've got oats, you've got cream, raspberries. Oh, and this is a leap day. So... Well, this is the leap year day, so this isn't going to have anything until 2024. Oh, here we go. This is when I was learning names for body parts, and I was trying to do the Diogenes behold a man as he holds the pluck chicken before the assembled forum. And I said it more like a man is here, and I think it would have been better to say it like... Actually, I think all I'd need to say it as... getting tongue-tied here. I think all I would need to say would be like Shedunya Ahan, for it is a man, because that's what I wanted him to be saying. Look, a man! what other neat things happened? Oh, here's some more of my larger sketches here. Oh, and then I saw a hawk that day. Actually, wait a minute. Did I... That might have been the day I actually got to hold a hawk. I was helping feed one. I volunteer at a wildlife clinic every week, and I think I actually did help feed a hawk that day. Oh, did I draw that when I was out on a coffee adventure? I don't remember. Because some days I've just gone out and brought this with me, and I went out to get coffee. We've got a wolf. And then that must have been Easter based off of my little rabbit dude. And the fact that I said blueberry rolls, because I like to make cinnamon rolls around the Easter time. Or various other kinds of rolls. Honestly, most of these entries are just like, yeah, I'm tired. Weather was sunny. It was busy. I made biscuits. Because, again, I'm a little bit limited in what I can say. I can totally talk about the weather. The basic emotions and states of being I can talk about. We went to Taco Bell that day. That's pretty exciting. Oh, it's your Batman, and apparently I forgot to write anything on this day. This might have been a day where I did the full illustration and then realized I had messed something up in terms of... But I think there's a couple days where I just skipped something. This was Beltane, so that's May 1st. That's my boy, Kernunos. I made a delicious, delicious banana bread that day. And I made a note I was gonna get coffee the next day, because at this point I was like, okay, now I can talk about things, not that I'm doing right at this second, but what I'm going to do, or what I will do in the future, so I will utilize that. And so this I drew when I was at a coffee shop that's just across the street from me. That was a really nice coffee shop to visit. Actually, I think I have 2 visits in here documented. We get some mermaid titties. That's always exciting. Oh, jeez. This was a really terrifying day at the wildlife clinic I documented. Basically, I discovered that baby possums sometimes cannibalize each other, and I had to clean up the aftermath of that. That's what was on my mind that day. This must have been May, because May was the big event of the month. I'm going to skip through a little faster because I don't have a whole lot of illustration other than my cat. He's feeling really tired, he says. Oh, and I cleaned the bathtub. That's a nice little bathtub doodle I got there. Let's see, there's another bigger illustration. There is a frog. He is having either some tea or some coffee in a little teacup. And here you can see... I think around this point is when you can see I am writing a lot more Gaelic, trying to write as much as possible with as little English as possible. And then I was just cranking to get a painting done late at night. Oh, that was my friend Jake's birthday. Actually, I think it was a couple days off from his birthday, which is why I drew him a little Gengar, because that's his favorite Pokemon. Ooh, this was a fun day. This is a day that my mom and I both went out and did some journaling in our 5-year planners. We went to an espresso bar, we got burritos and coffee, and then I painted the hot sauce. And this paper actually stood up really well to the watercolor, so that was very nice. This paper is excellent with fountain pens. That's something I should have mentioned right off the bat, is that this is really good for all of the pens that I have used in it. There's a pupper, a little husky. Ooh, this was actually an exciting day because I had a problem with my Game Boy Advance that I needed to just bust it open in order to fix it. I had to buy specialized screwdrivers, and I was able to fix the problem really easily, and it got me into thinking about repairing old game consoles, handheld consoles specifically, and that's something I did end up taking up. And I know I have that documented in here. Actually, wait a minute, what was that sketch? This was like me. Okay, that's kind of a mean comment. I, I'm not gonna say what that means, but there's a reason I drew a bunch of junk food. Let's see, I drew some fog. It was very foggy and nasty. Couldn't even see the rock out on my run. Oh, that was my mom's birthday, and we were thinking of getting donuts that day. We ended up doing it on a different day, but that's why we got some donuts. And then this is the day I found out you can set your phone into Gaelic. You can set it into Scottish or Irish, and it doesn't change a whole heck of a lot, but you can do Gaelic keyboard functions, and that's really nice. I also recently figured out I can set my laptop into Gaelic, and that, when you set, I don't know what was going on. I set my keyboard into Gaelic, and there's some weird things that happened that I don't even know what exactly was happening. It's like certain inputs got switched, and it didn't seem to have any logical reason that they were getting switched at all. It was just weirdness. Oh, so this is the day that I received the first Game Boy Pocket for my restoration messing around. Oh, and then there's the day that I dropped a frickin' 10-pound barbell plate on my foot. That was not a good time. I'm pretty sure my foot was not broken, but I will say there's still a little mark on my foot where the plate landed. And I swear there's kind of a bump on my foot now. So, I don't know. Maybe I should have been a lot more concerned than I was. And then the very next day, that Game Boy Pocket that I bought, it turned out to be way more messed up than I expected. This was like the worst screen burn you could ever imagine. It smelled burnt. When you took that screen off, you could smell the burnt electronics and plastic. But, oh, and I skipped a day. But I was able to get that circuit board working, and I did have to take a screen. I think this is the day I think that was the day I had bought another Game Boy Pocket, which I did actually manage to get that one combined with the previously purchased one, and I actually got something working out of cannibalized parts. And I drew a goblin guy. And I drew my Pokewalker there. I had two Pokewalkers, and I ended up selling one. Actually, that's the day the Game Boy Pocket arrived. And then there's me just trying to clean this damn thing and get it working. And then that was the day I sold my extra Pokewalker in a very, very short amount of time. It sold in 9 minutes, and I kind of wish I listed it for more. I listed it for $30, and those things go for a lot. Something really weird happened in Skyrim. Something glitched out, and I don't know how to describe it. I was on my horse, and we were just going sideways through the air. We got some fish. I think I got some fish in that illustration. My cat caught a lizard that day. I'm gonna this is probably like the third time I've said this, but I am gonna flip through a little faster, because otherwise this video is gonna be really long. We're already at 20 minutes. Oh, I like how that turned out. That has a secret significance to it. There's my character Fergus. One of the things I want to do next year is I do want to do a lot more illustrations on these pages, fill it up a little bit more, because you do have a full 5 years to do this. That was the start of Inktober. But I didn't want to fill it all up in the first year, and I also didn't want to just have it completely empty in the last year. I want to slowly be filling it up. This day, I want to stop and talk about this one, because this is actually a really bright, sunny day, but I did not bring my watercolors. I brought some water-soluble pencils that were all very dingy colors. So this is like a very gray, depressing take on what was actually a very nice, sunshiny, and fun day. Oh, wait, and I also forgot to make a note. This is about the time that I started learning days of the week, and so when I remembered, I was putting my days of the week in the little corner. Well, my follower died just completely out of nowhere in Skyrim that day. That was a weird occurrence that I almost think was a glitch. He kind of just showed up. Oh, that was my birthday, and I got a kilt for my birthday. Hell yeah. So let's see, I've got my food illustrations. Well, there's Hermaeus Mora, that also Skyrim related. And what I wrote has absolutely nothing to do with cosmic horror. It's just, I rode my bike and I'm sore and I cleaned the house, basically. Let's see, is that it for exciting things? Well, no, because I drew this when the power was out with the light of my tablet. Oh, well, I drew a hot dog. That's exciting. We needed to look at the hot dog. And then this, I found a really nice little spot for painting. I took my watercolors out there. I kind of was just sitting on a stone step right by where there's a bunch of kayaks piled up by the bay. Did that little painting. And that was a really nice day. I did another painting in a different sketchbook on that day. There's our Christmas. And I think that is it. That's all the exciting things. I did note all of my GAELIC resources that I'm using or have just collected in general and want to use more. And so that is it for the 5-year planner year 1. So my goal for next year, or not next year, this current year of 2023 is definitely keep improving my vocabulary, learning more sentence structures, learning as much as I can, and then doing a little more of these illustrations, probably just by going out in the world and doing some plein air sketches and just fill this up more and make it a little more visual, because I do focus a lot more with this planner, focus as much as possible on writing rather than drawing, because that is really my intention with this, I'm practicing GAELIC sort of planner, but I do want to make it a little more bright and colorful because that's what I like to do. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed looking through my planner with me. And so till the next time, Cheery and Rasta.